So, you want to dominate in Souls-like games. Maybe to show off in front of your grandfather, girlfriend, your pet, or like a true Giga chat to say that you passed Elden Ring naked, maybe in real life as well, on bananas without dying, but it doesn't matter what your reasons are, because I'm just an impassioned voice in the background who will try to explain it all to you. Well, the answer is simple, here it is. There are 4 approaches in total that are related to each other. Throw one out and the others may remain relevant, but you'll complicate your experience considerably. But if you decide to master them, you will simplify your life not only in Souls-likes, but also in some of the other action games, because these approaches can be adapted to them as well, and especially the last point, which can be applied to any game at all. I hope I've piqued your interest. Have you ever seen a giant or particularly ugly boss or mob and felt a slight fear, even a little bit, and in the background is playing tense music, making you even more nervous? And now remember how confidently you attack weak and slow opponents, probably laughing to yourself how pathetic and weak they are. You wouldn't think to fear them, would you? Have any ideas what I'm trying to say? I'm not saying that you should go into a fight with a boss lightly, thinking that he is no stronger than some weakling. Common sense, cautious is always a good idea, but you shouldn't wipe opponent heals with your face in fear either. Just think of him as a dummy with a unique attack pattern and auto HP. So what if this dummy puts you on his leather pike and then starts spinning you around like a helicopter propeller? Dummies are different. So what should I do, you ask? First off, get close to him, just enough to attack him, but don't do this yet. Then observe how he reacts, how he moves, what he does. Unless you're a mage, of course, but mages are a special case. And of course don't expect your fear to disappear after a couple of tries. It's a long time. Just keep doing it, and at first the fear will get weaker, and then it will either disappear or become barely noticeable. If you did not have fear at the first place, well, you're special, I guess, but not as a mage. Greed. Stop being greedy. Oh yeah, I'm willing to bet Miyazaki conscience that advice you heard more than anything else. That's the most banal thing you can advise someone who plays Souls-like games. Don't be greedy, it's already the motto of the entire genre, so I won't spend much time on it, but just share my experience. To be able to suppress my greed, I would find a damn survivable opponent and decide that I would make one single attack, but only when I successfully dodge his attack. And I did that many times, sometimes using an upgraded weapon to lengthen the process. Did my greed go away after that? No, but I'm getting better in controlling it, and now I'm not trying to give 5 slaps to a boss when after the first one he looks at me maliciously, fixing his loincloths and for some reason trying to get behind me. Trust me, sometimes it's just better to back off, even if it's only after one punch, and even if you missed. How do you feel when you die? Especially when the enemy has low HP and the runes you carefully stored up turn to nothing. Anger? Frustration? Maybe disappointment in your own abilities? Or do you calmly revive and run with all your might to your offender with a healthy desire to kill him? If the latter, then my respect, but that's not what I mean. Deaths are inevitable, even if you are an experienced player, let alone a newbie. It's pretty obvious, and you're right to ask me, why the hell am I wasting your time on such trivial matter? And my answer is, many people take this personally, so I want to discuss it. Fighting a new boss or even an ordinary enemy you've never met before will most likely get you killed. Unless it's something harmless, of course. Like this cute little crab. And you die not because you crooked, but because you don't know the attack patterns, and that's the way it should be. The game is built on that. Die, learn the attack pattern, try again and again, memorizing more and more until eventually you can win. Imagine this. You've never played a shooter before, but it could really be anything. And you decided to get into, say, CSGO. If you get into a match, how many times will you die? The answer is pretty obvious. In this situation, one person will take it as a given, because he has no experience and will decide to continue playing, enjoying and learning. Another with a scream of rage will delete the game and will never again start shooters, somewhere inside himself thinking that he is a total loser, although it would seem that such a failure was obvious, and there is nothing terrible or shameful in it. Yes, these are frustrating and upsetting, but that doesn't mean you're a terrible player. You just need more time and training. Maybe you play with a weapon you're not comfortable with, or away, or you just demand too much of yourself. Give yourself time and let this not be a personal game over for you. Or you can always give up and party hard, cursing your cheap keyboard, or the universe's conspiracy against you. Let me try to guess. When you see an opponent or enter a boss arena, you run towards him, waving in your hands the very thing that is usually not mentioned in a decent social setting, and you press dodge as soon as you see the opponent jerk his arm, stomp his foot or just sneeze out of boredom. If you are the same person who waits for every boss attack while keeping your distance and not attacking, trying to memorize his pattern, then why the hell are you even watching this video? You still can't get through Elden Ring with your feet? I'm afraid in that case I can't help you. Just practice. I hope you understand when I was so subtly implying wait, watch, memorize and then attack. Sounds pretty dull, doesn't it? Well, who says progress is gonna be fun? However, you can always forget about some voice from your speakers and try to crush the boss with endless attacks and your firm confidence. Jokes are jokes, but this tactic works with some opponents. But by memorizing the behavior and action of some opponents, you can kill them without even dodging. Not to mention that bosses will become much easier. And I'm not saying you have to memorize every movement of the enemy, tracking the angle of his torso, the movements of his eyes and the golden ratio of his body. On your first attempt, this can be annoying or even interfere with the game, but it's all about practice. Don't worry, with time you will track the patterns automatically. Well, I think it's pretty clear. No matter how many times you watch this video and others like it, while taking courses on motivation and success, but until you get your shaky hands on a keyboard and mouse and start playing Souls-like, you're not going to get better. Without practice and application, information is just a handful of words taking up space in your head. Alas, this is the reality. Remember the streamers that went through all 3 parts of Dark Souls without dying, and then without damage? Do you think he's just a god of the game or something special? But the difference between you and him is that he has been working for years for this result, and not just passing the game as a match for his own pleasure, but purposefully studied the attack patterns of the mobs and bosses, memorizing them by heart. Another question is, do you really need it? But I will expand on this question further. Fun. Why did I even add this point? It's simple. You can follow the previous approaches perfectly, practice for 30 hours a day, realize that you have opened the third eye, becoming a god of this game, and even pass all existing swarms without remembering Miyazaki's relatives. But what's the point if you get sick of the process? We play games for fun and enjoyment, don't we? And for some people, following these approaches won't be a problem. Hell, maybe they will have more fun. And for some people, these approaches will be just another mental anchor that will short out the gears in the head and they will say, fuck this game, and fuck that bastard who advised me on all this crap. So answer the question first, and not to me, but to yourself. Do you really need to become such a good player? Are you ready to study and practice for months, sometimes losing out on the fun of the game? Actually, you want to get better just to die less, easily defeat bosses and make the game easier? If so, you can always find a strong build, and finding it will be easier and faster than trying to follow everything already listed. Or maybe you want to show off? I'm not judging, but do you need it? Time spent plus effort is surely worth it? And who will be impressed by just a good game? when there are streamers who pass Elden Ring on bananas or without any damage at all. Hell, even the anime Wally got Elden Ring in a minute, goddammit. How can anyone be surprised by just a good game now? If you just want to get better as a player, then just keep playing. The quantity of practice will eventually turn into quality. You're not satisfied with that? Well, you're not going to get better in a short amount of time with the approaches in this video either. Think about it all and decide why you want to do this at all. If you start to doubt, or on the contrary, you're determined to get better, just try it. Observe your reaction, whether you're satisfied with such gameplay, whether you're ready to try so hard. And yes, if you do decide to use all of the above, don't be afraid to forget about all for a while just to have fun. If you're always serious, giving your best and following the instructions, even the most fun game will become a job, and not a very pleasant one at that. And do you need it? And remember, one day Miyazaki will come for all of us.